Welcome, everybody, to episode 104 of the Josh Lopez Wrestling Podcast on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Stitcher. I said YouTube again. Well, we're live on YouTube. That's why I'm saying it. Anywhere you get your podcasts from, hopefully we'll get to add the show on Google Play as well in the near future. Anyways, my name is Josh Lopez. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Notorious Shashi. I'm alongside the clown prince of podcasting, as always, Adam Daley at Adam Daley 13. What's going on, good brother?
What it is today, my man? How you doing?
How you doing?
Man, getting us set up a little different here today, so that way it's a little more changing the feng shui around.
Ladies and gentlemen, recording this show on a Thursday. You can listen to the show anytime during the week when you want. It could be a Saturday, a Sunday. Maybe you don't want to go to church and be annoyed by philosophies of this and that. And I don't need to go down that territory because we could get into some treacherous waters from that end.
We're actually missing the National Day of Prayer right now, Josh.
Yeah, that's true.
He's not American.
Yeah. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on in the world right now. We got celebrities who've lost their mind. We got movies being spoiled all over social media. All the craziness is going on right now. But we're here to be an escape for you guys. So we're here to have some fun, talk about wrestling, talk about life, talk about music. We got a fun music topic that we're going to close out the show with. I'm going to do a little self-reflection and some life advice to close out the show today. I'm turning 24 on Monday, and it kind of feels a little bit weird, but I had a fun conversation about this with Adam last night about the wheelchair club, which I'm not even near at that point yet, but we're gonna do some self-reflection at the end of the show. Anyways, if you ever want to catch up on any of our recent episodes, you can subscribe to the YouTube channel or subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts. Tell a friend about it if you like what we do. We do these different here. We've been doing podcasts together for almost 3 years this fall. And I think you guys know the drill for those who watch or listen to the show weekly. And if you don't, if this is your first time watching us, welcome. You can interact with us in the comment section we have here in this live chat room on YouTube. Just don't be a Nimrod. I'm not afraid to call out people on their bullshit. Just be cool. We can have a good conversation, but let's not be Nimrods. Today we're going to talk about the Greatest Royal Rumble. Just a little feedback from what happened from that show. I want to talk a little bit about the SheIs Movement that's spreading throughout Twitter, which I think is very cool. A lot of the wrestlers are promoting a lot of the women to get into sports these days, and it's never you don't have to be too young or too old to compete in sports. So I think it's pretty cool that they're doing the SheIs movement. We're going to talk about the highlights from RAW and SmackDown this week, and then of course we got to talk a little bit about Backlash, who's happening on this Sunday as well. So there's a lot of interesting parallels that are going on into this pay-per-view on Sunday. We talked about this a couple weeks ago. The I don't know what you say, the refresh button will be pressed after the show on Sunday, and we'll see where the blueprints of what these Raw and SmackDown shows are going to be after this pay-per-view. But there's been some interesting storylines and matches I'm actually looking forward to on this pay-per-view on Sunday. And we got kind of like a throwback feud with Jeff Hardy and Randy Orton, which I think has been kind of interesting over the last couple weeks. And we'll talk about that later on. So if you have any questions, put in the chat room and let's have some fun, shall we? First, I want to toss this out there. New Japan is running a 2-night special right now on New Japan World. It's called Wrestling Dontaku. That's their kind of say mixture of Backlash and Extreme Rules. This is like their time of the year where they have like mixed shows together. Their next big special is going to be in Dominion in June. But they're doing 2 specials tonight. They aired their first one today. The main event was it was Kenny Omega against Adam Page and Cody Rhodes against Kota Ibushi. Tomorrow night will be Hiroshi Tanahashi against Okada again, and then we're gonna have let's see, trying to remember what else. Oh, Will Ospreay against Kushida. So New Japan's provides some good specials. If you want to check that out, go check that out. Or you can check out my transcriptions for those shows at prowrestlingtranscriptions.com. So let's start off with the greatest Royal Rumble really quick, and let's get the comedy stuff out of the side. Titus Worldwide becomes Titus World Slide. A lot of people are having fun with it, and Titus is taking it gracefully. Of course, he's a really good person, and he's not mad about it. It shows how graceful of an athlete he is, especially for a guy I think who's over 40 right now. To be honest with you, he actually started wrestling late. I remember Titus O'Neil was actually a big college football star for Florida, actually. In the late 90s, I think. And I only remember this because Alex Brown, former Bear, by the way, went to the same college as Titus O'Neil. So it's pretty cool to see Titus, gets the spotlight, even if it's for the wrong circumstances. He's made the best out of it. And just the precision of him sliding down under the ring like that. He could have got hurt. That's something I do want to mention. He could have got hurt. There are metal bars in between these rings that people that don't know about the business. So all in well for Titus, but everybody got a good laugh out of it.
Sam brought up the best point, man. What if the LED boards would have been there?
Right.
That's a bad scene. I'm tucking this back a little bit because it's echoing a little bit there. You know what, dude? I know that I saw online there was a lot of people weren't pleased with the greatest Royal Rumble, but isn't it? I hate to channel my old mode. But what was that coach's name? Dennis Allen.
Yes.
Yeah, they were who we thought they were. We knew what that pay-per-view was going to be.
Oh, Dennis Green.
Dennis Green. Who the hell Dennis Allen is? It's like Marcus Halberstram. No, man. I think we hit it dead on. No titles were going to change hands. It was a live event. It was more about Saudi Arabia and forwarding the Saudi Arabian initiative than it was pleasing us as internet marks. Honestly, so I know some people were a little bit upset with it because they feel it didn't advance the storylines. But I ask, so when you go to a live event, you leave and you go, when in a non-televised live event, they didn't change any titles. It's kind of the same scenario with this. So I thought it was fun though, man. I mean, listen, it was long. It was longer than what I thought it was going to be. I think that's a fair criticism. I don't know if any of us expected it to be 5 hours, but at the same time, I mean, I don't want to complain about something that we wouldn't have had, or we might not have been able to see. So it was cool, man. It was cool. I'm glad Titus was like owning up to taking the fall. I think my boy Big Wavy might have done the same over at the Battle Royal this weekend. Shout out to Big Wavy Roy Johnson. But I overall I thought it was fun. Got a couple good matches out of it. It was fun. Did anyone really expect to see Hornswoggle?
My Aunt Kim is a big Hornswoggle fan. This is my aunt that I watched most of the shows with Jeremy, the guy I work with now. So every pay-per-view I go by their house, and they're like a couple blocks away from me. So it's a cool deal. I get to go watch their shows at their crib and stuff. And she always jokes about Hornswoggle doing a run-in during one of these pay-per-views, always. And she got her wish.
It was nice to see the Daivari brothers together, because I've always been a Sean Daivari fan because of the Sean days, so it was nice to see them together, finally getting to share the stage. It's unfortunate that Arya was getting death threats and stuff, but again, I think that's where, a lot of people were complaining, Josh, but this is something that we were really hitting home. People, and we kind of were joking about this, but people who listen to your show probably thought I was talking out of my ass or out of my mind, or they probably thought I was smoking too much of that danky dank or something. But, when I was talking about all, with women just getting the right to drive and about the whole 2030 thing that they have going on, change doesn't happen overnight. I mean, WWE had to release an apology for just for that commercial with the women's in it, didn't they?
No, Saudi Sports, their partner, had to apologize to the people in the country for that, which is ridiculous.
Wow, and that shows, I guess, the difference, and that shows where they are now to where they want to go. And Josh, is the same thing. You know, people were frustrated. You know, I would have loved to have seen some women's matches. I would have loved to have seen, you know, certain other things, but
right.
Progress doesn't happen overnight. We live in this instant gratification world that it's unrealistic. So this was, you know, and let's not, you know, politically, let's look at it this way too. It was a very shrewd move, I think, maybe on some people's behalf, because it wasn't lost on me that our administration had a meeting with the Saudis the very next night after the WWE event. It's a hell of a way to grease the Prince of Saudi Arabia to say, hey, you know, might want to start warming up, you know, a little bit more. It's great diplomacy, a great way. That's called greasing people, ladies and gentlemen. And it works. So I'm saying that's a good thing.
I have a couple takeaways from this show. We mentioned it last week. This show is more of a showcase of what WWE is in that country more than storylines or booking or this and that. That's basically what it was. It was a showcase thing. I was happy that they were able to air the vignettes for the women's title matches at Backlash. I thought that was cool. Whether it's ballsy on WWE's end to say, fuck you, we're going to air it either way. Good for the company that they got to promote their women's title matches. But I enjoyed the atmosphere of it. I thought the stage was cool. The opening part of the show with John Cena and Triple H was awesome, and how loud that crowd was during Triple H's entrance was insane. I thought that was really good. I thought the Bludgeon Brothers and Usos had a pretty solid match, actually. It was pretty good stuff. Shout out to the leader of worlds. Yes. Their new Raw Tag Team Champions. The ladder match with Seth Rollins, Samoa Joe, Miz, and Finn Balor was really good, especially Seth springboarding onto the ladder to steal the title for Balor. I thought that was really cool. And then you know, we had this controversy going on with Roman and Brock, but, you know, they're beating the shit out of each other with chairs and all this in the cage. That stuff was pretty stiff. And then, you know what? You know, people had their comments about Taker, but I'll tell you right now, I bet you Rusev was marking out in that casket and Aiden English at the same time. That match was better than I expected it to be, and I'm an Undertaker guy.
I'm glad they let Rusev really have more of the offense. You know what I mean?
More offense than John Cena.
Yeah. And we kept talking about this, Josh, where it was more about just, you know, when people kept saying, well, why is the Undertaker there? So the people of Saudi Arabia could experience what is the phenomenon of the Undertaker and the Undertaker's entrance and the presence and everything. You know, so again, you know, we were just given a glimpse of something that wasn't about us per se as wrestling fans in maybe in North America, or, you know, depending on where you're listening to this from. Like, I don't want to paintbrush that, because Josh, I know you have fans all over the world. I have 3 fans, and I think they're in my house. So maybe 2. I don't even think I have a 3rd fan, and that's including my dog. But no, it was really nice to see them pull this off and say, hey, listen, don't you guys want more of this? You know, I mean, this is for. I don't think we realize we put blinders on at least in America to what everyday life is. I mean, we see all the bad, and we see, you know, what different news channels want us to see, but we don't really see everyday life, and we don't understand what everyday life is like for people in different countries and cultures and stuff. So, you know, I'm glad that WWE was able to really do their own kind of to the best of their ability, not only do their own thing, but do it the right way, get great pops. The setup was smooth. They went all out with the pyro. There was great matches. You know, there was one-of-a-kind stuff that, you know, if Saudi Arabia never gets an event like this ever again, at least there's a generation that can say, man, I got to see Triple H. I got to see The Undertaker. I got to see, you know, it's all about talking and telling that legend for the next generation of fans. Just like when Bruno Sammartino, how many wrestlers did you see said that they got into wrestling because their dad's favorite, or their dad or their mother's favorite wrestler was Bruno Sammartino, right? Right. And you saw a lot of that going around when Bruno passed. So I think that in a similar premise, they know that down the line there is going to be a lot more business in Saudi Arabia. So you're already planting seeds for business, you know. And not to mention, it was a pretty lucrative deal from what I understand this time too. So I don't know. I mean, I just think overall it's an awesome way to not only showcase, like, have a little fun afternoon, you know, depending on where you were at in the world. But it was an afternoon for us. Got to see some cool stuff that, you know, one-of-a-kind stuff, a little bit of history, and I don't know. maybe help advance some social norms in a different country. Who knows?
Let me ask you this though. I think we hit the nail on the head, right, on the intervals for the entrance. I think we had like, I think it was almost 35 seconds. I do want to thank the company for that because it kept me on my toes during that Rumble match. It was long, but I made sure I had to get everybody right from their eliminators and stuff.
And you know what? I wanted to give, I mean, not to, but I wanted to shout out Sean Waltman because I appreciate the fact that finally somebody said this, and it needed to be said. Because fans always complain about like, oh, well, the times are different. It's never really 90 seconds. Sometimes it's this. And
who gives this?
Who cares? Who cares, man? There's stories that they're telling that we're supposed to get lost in and forget about time. We're not supposed to sit here with a stopwatch and be like, well, let's see if they got it right this time. Like, I don't know, man. I think that's when they really start to nitpick a little bit too much. But yeah, I mean, overall, big picture and stuff like this, I thought this was an awesome event. So, and I think they did the right thing having Strowman too.
Yeah. The spot with him throwing Shane McMahon through the table. The precision and how high that guy went was insane.
Shane doesn't have to do that. Like, we love you, Shane. We've been saying this for years. You don't have to do that.
You don't have to tear your body, man. There you go. But let's go. Greatest Royal Rumble. I think they announced that they're gonna have another special in the fall. I think sometime during November. So we'll see what happens there. And then, we talked about this a couple weeks ago about other possible network events that we can see for the women or the cruiserweights. I'm very excited for the UK tournament to come back this summer. Hopefully get to see our boy Roy Johnson in there again, get another chance to steal the show this time. So I'm excited for the UK tournament coming up, and then of course the Mae Young Classic Part 2 that's gonna be coming up this summer. So some interesting events, whether it's a house show environment or storyline, it doesn't matter. You're getting wrestling during the day on a Friday that you wouldn't expect. It's pretty cool. Take advantage of that. That's why we're paying $9.99 or whatever for the network, to get this live content. Let's not look over. Let's look. Nah, what the fuck am I talking about? Everybody looks too much into anything. It doesn't even matter if it's wrestling or not.
Well,
look too much into sports decisions from teens. Look too much into, I'm putting politics aside because that's something that we should look into because it affects our lives actually. But I'm talking about us looking we try to look way too hard into stuff that doesn't affect us at the end of the day. I guess that's my point.
I think at the end of the day, Josh, here's where it really stems from. And it's okay, so everybody's complaint was for a pay-per-view, this was a letdown. This wasn't a pay-per-view.
It never was a pay-per-view.
It wasn't a pay-per-view. Dude, I don't know where just because it's an event, all of a sudden now it's implanted in your mind that it's a pay-per-view. Just because WWE knows how to market their events, that's not, and you bought it hook, line, and sinker. That's not on WWE. That's called great marketing. At the end of the day, Josh, I think that's when a lot of times when we look back at an event and it's like, even if at first you're upset about it, it's like, you know what? Okay, I get it. And there's been a lot of times where I've been like that. Right. But now that we've been like doing this for so many years, I've been trying to look at it from a different lens. It's like, okay, we knew going in, I think, what we were going to get out of it, and probably that's why we enjoyed it. I didn't expect to see 4 different title changes. Really the only thing that was for the IWC was crowning a new tag champ because it was vacated. Right. And that was the morsel, like in Beast in the East when they gave us Balor versus Joe, I believe. Was that Balor Joe in Beast in the East?
No, Balor fought Owens for the NXT title.
Yep, Balor and Owens. So I mean, but if you look at the rest of that card, it was house show kind of, it was live event stuff. Yeah. So, and I totally forgot about this. Shout out to Nick over in the UK on Twitter. It's at Nick_BD. But he brought up Starrcade last, and I totally forgot that was last fall. That's how quick life is moving, or just how distracted I am with life. But everybody complained because Starrcade wasn't on the network, and we knew it was a house show. We knew they weren't going to do anything that but we were all like, yeah, but it should still be on there. It should still be on there. So they finally put it on there, and now it wasn't even really like anything. Well, you can't complain about one, and then when they give it to you, it's like I want cake. I want cake. Here's your fucking cake. I don't want cake.
I want ice cream.
Yeah. So I don't know. And it would be different again. Like I don't see my 8-year-old daughter. She understands more of what she's watching. That's why I think that I have to stay off social media, because it starts to, I don't know. I start to have a lot of questions about society when we've been watching this stuff for sometimes 20, 30 years. You should be on the WWE's tricks by now, and you should know what you're watching.
Not as smart as you think you are. Or at least you're trying to outsmart yourself sometimes. But ladies and gentlemen, speaking of social media, this is a little advice from myself and everybody here. Just unfollow people and stay off social media as much as you can. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago with Brother Carter taking hiatus. Good for him. Like you said on the show, he's smart. He's smart to take a hiatus. With this new position that I have at my my friend Jeremy's tattoo shop, and I'm working there 3 days a week now. I've been kind of put in a different position from watching the shows now. Like, I do my Raw articles and SmackDown the day after the shows are airing. I sit down, I breeze through the shows, I sit through the commercials, and realizing watching Raw, and there were some good matches this week, but it also brought up a scenario where I try and figure out where things are going to happen, because obviously we got this Backlash pay-per-view coming up on Sunday. Roman Reigns has this roadblock with Samoa Joe, but you don't really know what's next for Roman Reigns after Backlash. And think about this. We got 6 Raws heading into Money in the Bank, which is on June 17th, which is Father's Day, actually.
Wow. Oh, cool. Nice. Yeah.
So Money in the Bank in Chicago, Father's Day, June 17th. I'll be there. Hopefully I'll see you guys down there for anybody that goes to the shows in Chicago. So check out Money in the Bank. But it leads up. I was watching the shows that was going on. It's like, okay, we know that Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn are going to basically replace The Miz on Raw. Like, you could tell they're just going to be the antagonizing guys on the show. They're the guys that are going to give Kurt Angle the most shit on the show. They're gonna be the pot stirrers, and that's cool. I think that's really cool. But you look at the Rumble, you look at Backlash coming back this Sunday. What's next for Roman Reigns, and what's next for Braun Strowman? I think it may be an easier thing, because I think we talked about this last week. I think it's pretty obvious that Bobby Lashley will probably turn on Braun Strowman, and they start feuding with each other probably. Yeah, because like Braun's stealing Bobby's spotlight for coming back to the company, and he's always paired up with Braun. So you can see that. But like, I'll pose this to you: where do you see this going with Roman Reigns? Because I saw somebody pose that idea of him going in a feud with Jinder. I wouldn't be opposed to it. Jinder gets heat and stuff, but I'm trying to figure out what's next for Roman Reigns. But we'll see.
You know what? First, let me go back to Bobby Lashley. Before him and Braun have their little falling out, and I don't even know necessarily if someone's going to turn on somebody, or if it's just going to be two, not even necessarily egos, but just two beasts that want to just start going at it. Yeah. I think Lashley needs to turn heel on his music and just get new music, because that's not helping his cause at all. He might have the worst music in WWE right now. But you know what? For Reigns, I think it depends on what happens at Backlash. Because I actually think Samoa Joe is going to go over.
Yeah, me too.
And I'm just starting to tend to think that they're playing some sort of. Okay, I wouldn't be opposed to, and I am fully ready with my private Twitter account to reject every friend request, knowing that it's just you guys just trying to want to dispute me on this one. I think an unbelievable way for Roman Reigns to finally get it, and it's going to drive a lot of people insane. Have him lose to Joe, have he's on this losing streak, have him win Money in the Bank, and have him take the cheap way out. If you want to put the title on him, he can't beat Brock. He can't beat Brock. That's right now the story they're telling us is he cannot beat Brock. Maybe it's time Roman Reigns' character does things a little differently. Sometimes desperate times, desperate measures for desperate men. I would be okay with that. Now, I do, you know, I have a different thing that I hope happens with Money in the Bank, but I wouldn't be opposed to that. You know, I really wouldn't. I still think that Braun should be the one that takes the title eventually off of Lesnar. So, you know, that's the only way I can still connect, I think, Roman Reigns to the title. Now, getting him off the title, though, gender, I mean, maybe gender, but I don't know right now, man. Right? Like, I think it's going to be interesting. That's why everyone's going, Roman Reigns is in so much trouble. No, I'm actually kind of like intrigued to find out
trouble with what.
Well, because they keep booking him to lose. So people are
but he wins all the time, right?
Now they're like, well, they don't see volume, so he's just putting people over all the time. Well, maybe they're telling a story that eventually he's going to keep losing, and finally he's going to snap, and he's going to start doing things the dirty way. And I would be so maybe it doesn't involve the Money in the Bank briefcase, and maybe it doesn't. Whatever story they're telling, it just seems like he's just going to get beat down for a while, and then finally like have some sort of like comeuppance. So
yeah,
however they choose to write that, I'll admit you're right, Josh. Like once they're able to hit reset, I think after Sunday, and the rosters are finally fully settled, and we have our first like mixed, once we have our first pay-per-view with both rosters, I feel like everything, the dust is going to settle, and we'll have a clearer picture, because then both rosters will feel a little bit more natural versus right now we're still kind of getting used to the rosters, I guess.
Right. And I think there's a person out there that is a wild card to this whole equation, and I think that's it. I think it's Dean Ambrose.
Yes, I didn't want to say it. Thank you.
Because where does he fit in this circle now? Look at Raw this past Monday and Seth Rollins getting the pops of all pops, and I want to give a shout out to the crowd in Montreal because they're great this Monday. I thought it was a fun show. The crowd was into majority of the show. I thought they were great. And Seth Rollins is getting this big spotlight now. He's the fighting champion, and he's like the biggest good guy on the Raw brand right now. And it's cool. And, he gets to main event the show with Finn Balor. They had another good match with each other. Seth Rollins is heading into Backlash this Sunday to take on the Miz for the IC title. But where you have these three Shield guys now going in kind of different directions, but we don't know what's happening with Dean Ambrose. And he could come back at any moment.
Is it so he's scheduled to come back at any time now?
Not that I know. I don't look at their sheet stuff.
Yeah, see, that's what I mean. And that's actually what I like about it. Is I'm at first I was a little like, well, maybe they should have him in the draft, but I'm glad that he's not, because that's when they can pull the free agent card, and not like John Cena where he would bounce back and forth between shows.
Right.
I mean, that's not what I'm saying, but it would be one of those big time signings like in the middle of the summer that really like shakes up a show.
Right.
But it is sweeps month though. May is sweeps month, so
I remember that. Yes,
they tend to pull out or attempt to pull out some big time maneuvers here and there. So I don't expect Raw or SmackDown really to slow down at all. I thought they've been giving us some pretty good shows recently, especially and I'm glad. And you're right with Rollins, by the way. I mean, I'm glad he laid it out there. That look how grueling they've been bouncing all over the world for the past month. And usually it cools down a little bit after Mania. They take their UK trip, then they come back, and it kind of like cools down. But they've kind of been hitting the gas the entire time. And with it being sweeps month, I don't expect them to stop either. I feel like this is an important sweeps month for them. So yeah, man, I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised to see, even if he can't wrestle yet. I wouldn't be surprised to see them bring him back a little bit earlier than planned, just to start planting seeds for maybe what could be, going in for the rest of the summer.
Do we know when the UK tour starts?
That I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know. Usually they go like it's right after Mania. They get like they take the Raw and SmackDown. Then the week after was always over in the UK, over in England. But they just I don't know. They did it different this year.
So it's interesting which parts of UK they go to. Like I really enjoyed the Scotland, the Glasgow, Scotland shows they had in that arena, which looks really, really cool. I forgot the name of it, but it's not the O2. It's something different. They have an arena in Glasgow that's like super badass. They got cool scenery in the background, so hopefully they go there. But there's some interesting options on Raw. Ronda Rousey's doing this thing now with Natalya, trying to get more sympathy for her. They have history with each other, being training partners. You got the stuff with Alexa Bliss dropping her PSAs each week about her being bullied and playing reverse psychology. How about that?
He's the cop. You sit in it. That's the best thing ever. You just sit in it.
Good for her and Nia, by the way. I remember being on the previous podcast I was on and had certain guests and hosts trash Nia and Alexa's in-ring ability or effect to pull off an effective feud. And these two ladies are shoving it up their ass right now. So I'm happy for them. I think they're going to have a nice spotlight on this Backlash show on Sunday. And, I was there for their match at WrestleMania, and I thought they were one of the better parts of the show, to be honest with you. So I'm happy for both Nia and Alexa.
I was talking to one of my buddies the other day, and we just kind of were in agreement that we think Alexa Bliss might be the best heel in the company right now.
Yes.
She really might be. And it's just little things like that. Like, just how she can have these little, like, moment of bliss little tight deals and just being able to flip everything around just like Triple H always was able to do. There's a lot of similarities just between the mannerisms of the characters. Obviously not in, she doesn't have the physical presence that Triple H would, because Triple H had the physical presence to back up the cerebral assassin aspect of him. But she is very good at that, the psychological games.
What's interesting about SmackDown these days, it's kind of like they're in a transition of becoming a super indie on the main roster, because you got the mixture of everything. You got ROH guys, you got New Japan guys, you got TNA guys. You still have your WWE centered guys like Big Cass or The Miz, who are getting spotlights right now. But you see a potential feud with Samoa Joe and AJ Styles, and we're about to turn the clock 10 years. Like, I don't know what's going to happen. You got Daniel Bryan back now wrestling. SmackDown's really going to start becoming super indie wrestling heavy show soon.
Say with Samoa Joe there too. You know what I mean? Not that he was ever really indie, you know what I mean? But it has that other wrestling feel. You know what I mean? It really does. It has that like I always said, it's that in between NXT and Raw. Raw is more entertainment. SmackDown is more, I guess, on what we were used to. As far as like growing up, and then NXT is just NXT. It's its own thing. So what I like, listen, first of all, I did like they wrote out, like, they kind of just chalked up Sami Zayn not being in Saudi Arabia because he had vertigo. I don't want to let this get lost on because I thought that was hysterical.
Right.
Vertigo is a son of a bitch, though. But if you've never had vertigo, it sucks. Sucks. And listen, and thank you, Corey Graves, for encapsulating Mean Girls Day by just talking about Mean Girls for 2 straight days. Maybe it's a Pittsburgh thing. We talked about this before we went on the air last week, dude. I don't know if it's like a Pittsburgh thing where I don't know. A lot of my dudes around here too were all big into Mean Girls, and that sounds like it's like a real weird thing to say, but we'll quote it all the time. Maybe that's a pit. I don't know if it's in other cities or not too. I don't know. People made fun of me in Charlotte for it, so maybe it is just a Pittsburgh thing.
Hey, Mean Girls is shit. I don't care what anybody says. I'll admit, though, it was kind of funny on SmackDown. Tom Phillips is like, stop trying to make Mean Girls happen. And I was waiting for Grace to be like, shut up, Phillips.
That is so fresh. I like that's the running job. Listen, little references like that, little reference points like I did last week that no one's ever done.
It's always 3 people: Alexa Bliss, Peyton Royce, and Billy Kay. I always got to hear a damn Regina George reference when these 3 are out there. It's tremendous.
I think he normally probably would with Sasha, but he's just straight up like, she's just gonna stab you in the back.
Yeah, we're seeing the real Sasha Banks.
And good for Graves too, because I think Graves is co-hosting. He's taking I think he's hosting Sam Roberts' show, I believe, or like with Sam Roberts, because Jim Norton I think he's filming for Jim Norton Monday, whatever show they do. Yeah, whatever morning shift. But that's a big time spot for him, man.
It makes sense. They got the pay-per-view in New Jersey Sunday, right? Yeah, so he'll get there. That's cool for Graves. He'd be on Sirius XM.
Yeah, because I think he lives up in that area now. Anyway, I think he's up in the Connecticut area. So that's no, but that's big. And see, those are little things that I don't know if normal wrestling fans, and I don't say normal, like I'm inside the wrestling bubble. Sometimes it gets lost on us, but I mean, even outside the wrestling bubble, think about that. Corey Graves, who is like. So if you would say, people would just say, well, he's just an announcer. Is he? Because he's already crossing over, and that's a big platform. And I get it. Sam Roberts is a wrestling-friendly show, too, so it's easy. But if his personality and his wit, I mean, you have to be sharp to be on that show, because they talk about real shit. That's not a fluff piece kind of show. You know, I mean, they get dirty on that show. So.
What else is catching your eye or stuff that you may want to see going forward for the next couple of months?
I don't want Absolution to be over. And here's why. Honestly, I just bought their T-shirt, and I wore it one time, and so no, but I think in a way they could spin this. You know what? And I'm saying this respectfully, and I'm saying this in character, guys. I'm not, as far as the characters, I'm not saying I know what Paige has done for these two women as far as coaching them and helping them being at ringside. There's the just having her at ringside for them is invaluable,
Yep.
But when you're telling a story, you can absolutely say you haven't even been in the ring for 3-4 months. You could say that you were Absolution when we were the ones doing all the work. Like, they could really pin this in a way where they stay together, and if they bring in either the tag championships for women, or if however they make it, this could be the antagonist protagonist, where it's the two, it's authority versus former allies,
Right.
And it could be a point where Paige, almost like they were doing on Tough Enough, where Paige kept challenging them to do better, throwing roadblocks in front of them, because that's one thing that they talked about was Paige knew that they, she felt like they both had something, and she just didn't want to, she wanted to keep pressing them to make them better, and that was part of her job. So they could really tie that in with this right now. Maybe they're not called Absolution, maybe it looks like, maybe it has a different look to it, but I'd rather them keep the Absolution name just so I could still wear the T-shirt, and but I think it would be good for Paige because it would still incorporate her into a storyline. I think it would be different so that I know people don't typically, some people are tired of like the authority versus type figure versus a worker, but it's always been effective. So right. I don't know why we argue this, but I think that's one thing I'd like to see going, because I think Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose both in their own in two different ways too have gotten astronomically better from the time they debuted until now. I mean, I really do think that they both can hold their own. And then I'd like to see them together for a while. So, dude, everything that I've really been focused on has been the women's division. I'll admit, like I look forward. I'm really digging. I want to see what they do with Rousey. I like this slow burn, like slow build, I guess, to her character, where they're kind of dragging her along. They're not just instantly throwing her into main events. They're going to make her earn her spot. Earn the respect backstage. I really like it just seems like they're running the women's division better than the men's division, and again, and I always talk about it, like maybe it's just because we're still seeing a lot of firsts. It's fresh. It's, it's still, it's evolving so quickly. It's not just the 4 horsewomen anymore. It's definitely not, dude. We put on WrestleMania 22, like WrestleMania Day. We were just going through a bunch of old WrestleManias and stuff. And we put on the women's match. My daughter was like, yeah, let's put on the women's match. And then we put it on for a second and realized, oh, it was the Playboy Bunny, like, bra and panties match. And it was like, yeah, let's not do this. So think about that, guys. Like, so to all the people out there that are constantly still, for some reason, feel that that's a good booking decision, is like, bra. Well, that's why. So we just need bra and panty match. That's what sells.
The one they should be talking about is Mickie James and Trish Stratus earlier in the show.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. I think it was just where I was on the card, though, because we were watching Michaels versus Vince. So, but
I remember
yeah,
that. That's awesome.
yeah, and she just wanted to check it out, and I was like, yeah, this is what, and that's why they had to change the women's division, because otherwise you wouldn't have, my daughter who's going on 9 years old, uh, who right now just did a report and says what's your favorite memory so far, blah 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 blah, and she actually put when Asuka debuted on Raw. Legit, I took a picture of it just so that way, in case anything ever happened. It was like, so, we wouldn't have had that 10 years ago, and that's why it's good business with what they're doing. And I think maybe that's why I'm so interested in the women's division right now.
Speaking of Asuka, I mean, the SmackDown women got the main event to show this past week. I thought they had a very good match. Charlotte dropping moonsaults like she's a cruiserweight. I mean, her athletic ability is insane. I think Peyton Royce is going to be a big star coming up in the coming years. She's awesome. I don't get the grief that Billie Kay gets. I don't know, maybe something, the technical thing, but I think she's fine. She plays a role fine.
I actually think that Billie Kay is better on the mic and Peyton is better in ring. And I think that's why they kind of, I mean, obviously they're just a great team, but that's where I would go with them. I think Billie is better on the
Yeah,
mic.
so we got Nia and Alexa on Sunday, and then we got Carmella and Charlotte also on the show on Sunday as well. So I agree with you. There's a lot of good stuff for the women's division going on right now. Obviously, Ronda will get a big spotlight. I found out today that Ronda will be at Money in the Bank in Chicago, so they air one of the commercials, so that's going to be pretty cool to get to see her perform again.
So do you put her in Money in the Bank, or do you put her in a singles match or some sort of other featured match that, whether it's tag team featured, whatever?
It all depends on Natalya, to be honest with you, because I don't think she'll fight Natalya at SummerSlam. I think she may have another challenge with Stephanie or something one-on-one in SummerSlam in Brooklyn, because that'd be the time Stephanie comes back to television, something like that. But looking at Ronda, yeah, maybe she could do Money in the Bank if she's up to that challenge. You'll notice Ronda will get more action if she actually has a match on Raw, and that's right. What I want to see where that goes with that.
I don't think you put Ronda in Money in the Bank this year. I think you wait. And that's just me, and I'm probably wrong because I'm a nobody, just like everyone else that does this podcast. But I in a way don't think she needs to be in there, and it's just, not that it would, because she could obviously lose the match and it wouldn't hurt her at all. But I would almost rather her be in a featured match, because what would her being in Money in the Bank realistically do for her right now?
It's like you put yourself in the corner, and anytime you put Ronda Rousey out there with her being an attraction, everybody's like, oh, she has to win. She has to win. Oh, she can't be made to look bad or this or that. You know what I mean? Right.
Exactly. So I think I just don't think. Now, it'd be a great way to have maybe Stephanie come in and cause her to maybe not get the briefcase. Right. You always have that. But I don't know if it's necessary to put her in there this year. Maybe next year, maybe, the year after. I don't know. I think she's going to be that. I think she is going to be a special kind of athlete. I mean, we all know that, but I don't think a lot of her naysayers, I think, are going to be eating a hell of a lot of crow. Well, no, never mind. I forgot. It's 2018. Nobody's allowed to admit that they're wrong
anymore. Let's talk about this really quick, since we're talking about the women and stuff. There's spreading this new movement called SheIs on social media. I talked a little bit about it at the beginning of the show. What's your thoughts on it? I think you've seen some of the tweets and stuff, and maybe you could expand for those that don't know what the SheIs movement is.
Yeah, SheIs is from what I saw and from what I've read. And I'll admit I didn't do as much research as I should have on it, but it is basically, long story short, is that most young girls quit playing sports, athletics, whatever they're doing, around like 12 or 13 years old. A very, very high percentage of young girls, young women, and there's no reason for it other than, I don't know if maybe it's just a psychological thing with society's norms, and women were always told that they couldn't do this or that, and so what they're doing now is this SheIs movement is to basically just empower women to keep playing, keep doing what they're doing, keep playing sports, not being held back by restrictions, and to kind of just change the mindset of what female empowerment can be. And I think it's a very powerful message to young women out there, because there is that time. I mean, I'm obviously not a woman, although sometimes maybe on Saturday nights I am, but but, it's a unique time. I think we forget how awkward those, at least in America, those 12, 13, 14, 15-year-old years are, when you're really trying to figure out what you are, like, where you're going, what life is, what do you like? Do you really like playing the sports that you're playing? And a lot of times you're told as a young girl, listen, why are you still playing? There's no pro. It's not like you can go pro. It's not like you can go pro. Well, what do when in reality, I mean, if you keep playing soccer, keep playing softball, keep playing basketball, volleyball, swimming, or running, whatever it may be. I mean, you look at the Bella Twins, they played soccer, ended up in WWE. So it's about staying active, it's about staying fit, it's about being healthy, and it's about empowering women to know that their athletics matter just as much as the men's. Hell, our women's soccer team, let's face it, is head and shoulders above the men's team when it comes to dominance, and they still don't really get the respect in a monetary fashion that the men do. So, but this is to just let young girls know that just because there isn't maybe don't give up on these things that you love to do because society basically tells you go make me a sandwich is in a way that's I hate to put it in those terms, but that's the best way to put it. The make me a sandwich days are over. It's about time we start telling these young women that they need to stay active, stay with these sports, because you never know what the power of athletics and discipline and structure can do for you later on in life.
And this can go to any part of life, whether you're a male or female. Connect, network with people, grind, and be you, no matter what it is, where you want to play sports. Or I see a lot of female anchors now on sports networks, which I think is cool. I see women hosting NFL network shows, which I think it's cool. And they're doing their shows on the network that talk about a male dominated sport. You have a lot of jockey football fans out there, but the women out there, they're spewing out their stuff and they know what they're talking about. And I think that's the cool thing. And you look at this from an athletic standpoint, like you mentioned, the women's soccer team doing good. I always hear stuff about the U.S. hockey women's team as well. They don't get a lot of spotlight. I think they just won the gold medal actually out there. And
it's a really exciting game too. That was an awesome Olympic run.
Yeah, I stood up late to watch that live. I thought it was very cool. And, you got swimming, all the other sports. It's kind of shame that the WNBA doesn't get enough attention for what they do out there, because they put out some good content as well. So, support the SheIs Movement. There's a lot of good stuff out there for women to strive and do what you want, whether you're young or you're even older. Never let anybody tell you that you can't strive to succeed somewhere. So I'm all in support as well for the SheIs Movement. Let's talk a little bit about Backlash before we head out here. We got some cool fun nuggets to share for you guys for our pop culture segment today. Good, do some cool stuff in there. Let's talk a little bit. Let's breeze through Backlash and talk about the matches already on the show. I don't know anything about the kickoff matches. I don't know. I haven't seen anything announced. Anytime we record a show, there's always some news coming out that we don't know, and it catches us off guard. You know what I mean?
Every time.
Every time.
I think on the pre-show it's me versus Bill Alfonso in a annoying little skinny nasally dude match.
60-minute time limit, man.
Yeah, I think the most you're getting out of either of us is 3 minutes. Like Bernie Mac, 3 minutes. That's all I got. That's all you're getting out of me.
All right, let's start this off. We got Miz and Seth Rollins. This go either way. I heard some people throw out the scenario where you could possibly have SmackDown having both the US and IC titles, since that's going to be more of the wrestling heavy show to showcase it there. But you also could look at it from Raw, where they could get themselves a TV title, something like that, if they wanted to implement that on Raw. I don't know, but I think obviously these guys have good chemistry with each other. I've covered a gazillion of these guys' matches with each other over the past couple months, so I'm not worried about that. Miz doesn't get enough credit for what he does in the ring. I know a lot of people want to rip it because they still are waiting for this Danny Bryan Miz feud that will happen in due time, but I'll go with Seth Rollins.
That's WrestleMania. You know what I mean? That screams WrestleMania. I don't.
Right.
SummerSlam, maybe SummerSlam, but probably WrestleMania.
Yes. What do you got this one? Rollins or Miz?
You know what? If I didn't know any better, and this is just, and I'm not gonna listen, all the world's a stage. I don't believe anything I see from anything anymore. But just, for how much they've been talking about Chris Jericho and the Miz tying Chris Jericho and the Miz tying Chris Jericho, and did you know the Miz might tie Chris Jericho? And hey, the Miz might tie Chris Jericho, and the Miz might tie Chris Jericho. You'd almost think that Chris Jericho is going to come in and cause the Miz to lose the match. I understand that Jericho might be, inking another deal with New Japan, to work a couple dates that way, and he's really not there or whatever. But I don't think that the title guy. I think Rollins holds on to the title just because I think right now, with the Universal Championship still not on Raw, and I still think Lesnar holds that till SummerSlam, guys. I just have a weird feeling. So you need a title on that show, and I think Rollins right now is the one that's stepping up to say, listen, this is my show, and this is, and I want it to be my company too. Meaning, like, he wants to, I really feel like this is, this is going to be his. This is going to be the first time that we actually see, like you said, hitting the reset button. This is where we finally see Monday Night Rollins, the Rollins that we all thought that he could have been from the time that he came in with the Shield, from the time that, that we knew him as Tyler Black before, from the time those of us that kind of followed him in his career. I think that now he's getting that okay, now that the injury, is past him, he doesn't have this albatross around him that he might be injury prone or this or that. It looks like, he's a guy they could anchor the company to.
Right. We got Jeff Hardy against Randy Orton. I mentioned this earlier, turning back the clock. Now with these network specials, you can have your throwback WWE Network spectacular, whatever feature it is. So this time we're going to go back to 2007. These two actually had some good matches with each other back then. I remember the rivalry they had for the WWE title before Jeff started going back to the addiction. Yes. And started consuming and procuring the drugs.
Yeah, I've been there. It's rough. It's hard sometimes.
Yeah, it's rough.
Peculiar stuff that went on at that time. Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Jeff Hardy here, but what I saw from SmackDown this week, it looks like maybe Randy will actually go back to the dark side. I don't know. He flips and turns like Big Show these days, so we'll see. But I thought it was very interesting for Randy. He said that nobody tells me when to strike. I strike when I want to.
And see, and I think too that Orton, to your point about how he's kind of been like, you don't really never know where he's at. I think Orton right now is a guy that they're using. He's kind of whatever you need me for,
right?
And his character is always so gray. He's malleable to make him, a quick baby face run, quick heel run, quick, and it doesn't, a lot of times it wouldn't make sense for other characters, but it does for his, because he's still the Viper. So you still can't trust a Viper at the end of the day. You can't trust a Snake. That being said, I do think that right now they're using him more to put other people over than anything else. And talk about a throwback match. Like 10 years ago, this would have been Sam's like dream match almost. Like this would have been one of her dream matches of like her top 5 guys. And she has like no interest in this match whatsoever, which I find it's really, it's funny. But I think Jeff does more with the title right now. So I'm going Jeff.
Yeah. I think Jeff will get more of a spotlight. Like I said, making this switch to SmackDown. It's good for him. And you never know if they decide to do another chapter of Woken Matt's adventures in the Hardy compound. Maybe you'll see Jeff make a little cameo there just for the hell of it. I mean, he is family. I don't think you have to be contracted, obligated to just appear on Woke and Matt shows if you're on Raw. So,
excuse me. Well, that's actually one thing I like about how they're doing this now, because this is something we haven't really thought about. And I think maybe they're testing the waters with this Samoa Joe, Roman Reigns feud, just to see if they can do this. We're so programmed that, okay, Raw is Raw, SmackDown is SmackDown, split brands, exclusivity, and whatever. Well, wait a minute. Now that they're on the same, they're going to constantly be running like dual pay-per-views. Who's to say that they can't have I'm not saying every storyline, but maybe one storyline for every pay-per-view, or one, whatever, that has a superstar from each show, where it is just kind of a grudge match, or it is for a championship, or it is for
Yeah, right. Like they're called up, like they have a little Twitter beef or something like that, and then they can show on the pay-per-view.
And then next thing you know, they're showing up on Raw, and it's like, oh my god, what are they doing here? Like, and in a way, there's ways that they could really utilize this. So I'm not, as Kanye would say, I'm not putting myself into a mental prison, and I'm not thinking in the boxes that they paint around us. And when the boxes are painted around us, I break the boxes to see that there's a box, and then I put myself back in the box because they want me outside the box. And when they want you out the box, you put yourself in the box because you want to not be what they want you to be. That's a Kanye tweet.
Yeah.
No, but honestly, like, just we're actually, like, kidding aside, we're so programmed that it's going to be that Raw has to face Raw, SmackDown has to face SmackDown. Yeah. That we're not thinking big picture on, like, we could have these small little morsels of like special event matches at every pay-per-view. So
I want to give a shout out to the Snowman Brian Snow. Check out the podcast, good brother. Thanks for hopping in the comment section, good brother. Thanks for checking it out. Let's get to the next one here. We'll go with Big Cass and Daniel Bryan. I think this is gonna be a one-off thing. This is to showcase Cass, bring him up the upper exterior for the roster for SmackDown. And it's fine. I think what's cool with these co-branded shows now, you can have mini feuds, just do it one-off. I don't think you have to be put in a position now where you have to have guys feuding 3 months or 4 months. I'm not opposed to long-term storytelling, that you have the right opponents, but I think now where you combine the shows, it's going to be a thing where you don't have to show everybody on every single pay-per-view and do rematch after rematch. So even if this is a one-off, and obviously Daniel Bryan will beat Cass with the story here, but I don't think it affects both guys if they go their separate ways after this show.
A really nice way to advance this, and it's just because I always like to play devil's advocate. I wouldn't be opposed to an angry Miz that couldn't get his Intercontinental Championship back, causing Daniel Bryan this match either.
True.
And then so maybe it is SummerSlam versus WrestleMania next year. I don't know. Like, maybe there is a cat and mouse game going on with Miz and Daniel Bryan right now. I'm still going to pick Daniel Bryan because although I almost feel like that's too obvious. And I feel like in a way that this is going to be one where Daniel Bryan's about to overcome the odds again. And somehow I want to pick Cass in this so bad. You don't have no idea how bad I want to, but I don't want to be that guy that's trying to be like, oppositional all the time. So I'm going to go with the flow and pick Daniel Bryan just to be boring. But you're right, dude. This is more about showcasing Cass and just getting the rub off of Daniel Bryan. And we're supposed to not like Cass right now, by the way, guys. So he's doing his job.
Yeah, that's the point. By the way, I love the little small detail Miz said on Miz TV. He's like, going forward, Daniel Bryan is banned on Miz TV.
Yo, mini Daniel Bryan was interesting, huh?
Yes. Yeah, that Montreal crowd was popping for anything. Pierre Lafleur, we got fake Quebecers on Raw getting squashed by the authors of Pay, which I thought was hilarious.
Yeah, that was funny.
Let's see what else we got here. Let's go with Charlotte against Carmella. I think Carmella could find a way to sneak out of this. Maybe put a position where you put Charlotte in the Money in the Bank ladder match. It's gonna be interesting because now you have both shows together do you have women and women from both Raw and SmackDown in the same ladder match? And it's got one briefcase.
Yeah,
And
I would. Absolutely.
it's like a showcase of the best of Raw and SmackDown in this ladder match at Money in the Bank. So I think both these title matches could affect a lot of what's going to happen on that Money in the Bank preview. I'll talk about from the women's side. So this is going to be very interesting where they go with this. So I do think Carmella could win, but Charlotte's anger gets the best of her, and it's kind of like a disqualification. So I do see Carmella walk out of her native land, New Jersey, New York. It's the same shit. Season leads with the SmackDown title.
This was the Lakers cheerleader. What? No. What was I gonna say? You know what? I think Carmella walks out too. I think Carmella finds a way, and whether it's the Iconics or whether it's Absolution, I think one of those. What's that?
Or Asuka.
Well, no. You know what? I don't think Asuka would come down and cause Charlotte to lose, only because then it's people would look at it too much of a parallel with AJ Styles and Nakamura right now.
Ah, that's true.
You know, that's my only fear. And even though they could do it, you know why they'd get pigeonholed. And I don't want to have to say it, but because it would be a Japanese superstar, and they would say, "Oh, it's just like when the Riot Squad and Absolution debuted." People went, "Look, it's the same thing: a blonde, a brunette," and like shut up.
Well, I think the only women for SmackDown I can see that can make the turn that would work would be Becky.
I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to Sonya and Mandy Rose replacing Paige with Carmella, and that's how Carmella can protect the title. Carmella's always had a protector, and I mean I know they've wiped away James Ellsworth from history, but Carmella has always had a protector or protectors in some way, shape, or fashion. Mm-hmm. And I'm not discrediting her you know what she can do in the ring, like some people are, because I think that people are going to be absolutely surprised, because I do think that she stepped their game up. I think they're probably going to want to go with her for another month, and I do, but I think it's a good way for either the Iconics to get involved or for Absolution to get involved, and neither of them necessarily, because then Josh, I think what we can have is Charlotte and Becky can fall back if they do bring a tag team titles in. Charlotte and Becky could be a tag team. The Bella Twins could be a tag team if they choose to. And there's already two big name tag teams. Then you have the Iconics. Then you would have Absolution. And those are just four teams just from SmackDown, not including the Riot Squad, not including maybe if Becky and Sasha or Bayley and Sasha get back on the same mindset. And guys, I'm just thinking, and you know, I hate to say fantasy booking, but I'm just forward thinking on how they can maybe wiggle out of this. But because of everything else that's in front of us right now, that's the only reason why I feel like I don't think Charlotte doesn't need the title right now. I think Carmella right now, it's going to better suit her. And this isn't a way where the title isn't going to make Carmella. I do believe Carmella is going to make this championship.
Mella is money.
Mella is money.
Yes. Let's talk about the other one, Nia and Alexa. I think Nia will retain as well here. I'm posing an idea of possibly having Alexa Bliss win the Money in the Bank. That's my personal choice this year to win the Money in the Bank for myself. But I think these two will even get more time than they got at WrestleMania, and I think they're going to kill us. So either way, it doesn't matter to me who wins this match, but I'll go with Nia.
I'm gonna go Nia on this one too, and actually, you know what? And this is just an early pick, and we'll get into this in June. But I actually think they're gonna go Sasha with Money in the Bank this year. I do.
Maybe.
I think there's a lot of reasoning and marketability and a storyline twist why they can make it happen. But we'll talk about that in June. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. I gotta wonder how many CM Punk references are gonna be made since Money in the Bank is in Chicago.
Too many.
This year.
Too many. That's why I'm not on social media.
That's why unfollowed like over 2,500 people over the last couple of days. So
yep. Makes life easier.
Yes, absolutely. Let's see, anything else that I'm missing here? Braun Strowman and Bobby Lashley against Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. I'm actually going to go with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn for after what happened on Raw. I think they find a way to get their heat back. So I'll go with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn.
Yeah, you know what? I'll go with that too. Who do you think would take the fall, Lashley or Strowman?
Yeah.
Lashley. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This is I agree with you. I feel like this is just setting up the Lashley Strowman feud that's like knocking on our door 3 days ago. You know.
Yes. Yeah. I gotta give them credit, man. They played the good weasels well on that show, man.
Mm-hmm.
I love what Kevin owns the same doing, and then this how loud the crowd gets anytime Braun Strowman just starts running around the ringside area, like like it's like a 7-foot Tasmanian devil just steamrolling through everybody. It's
tremendous. Some of the best gifts out there are Braun Strowman gifts.
Yes. Did you see the picture of him without a beard on Instagram yet?
No.
You guys see it, man. It's hilarious.
I mean, I remember seeing some pictures because I remember when he was still in that. Like, I always bring it up when he was a Rosebud, but there was a video of him, I think, rapping the Notorious B.I.G. I think he was rapping a Juicy a long time ago too.
Braun Strowman's the man. Enough said.
Matter of time.
Yes, sir. By the way, go check out his ride along episode with Alexa Bliss. It's pretty funny. They do have some good on air chemistry with each other. I do remember that from watching the Mixed Match channel, so it's some good stuff.
I gotta watch more shows on the network.
Yeah, man, it's gonna be interesting. The layout they're gonna have now. They got the Edge and Christian show coming back, which I'm looking forward to. I love Edge and Christian. I can't get enough of their stuff, and they're hilarious. You know, they got the 24 specials coming out for the Hardy Boys, which I'm looking forward to. They got one for Ronda Rousey, I think, as well, that they're gonna air. So some good stuff on the network coming up pretty soon. And then let's see. Let's get this Samoa Joe and Roman Reigns. I think we're both in agreement. I think Samoa Joe is gonna win this match.
Yeah, I do too. And you know, and it's talk about promos. And actually, there is one thing I wanted to talk about. I know a lot of people don't like this, but it's something that's growing on me now that they're taking the stupid font off. But the little backstage promos they're doing that look like selfie promos.
Yeah.
I'm starting to really dig those. And Ziggler's and McIntyre's from Monday night, I thought was awesome. Yes. Awesome. Like, you know, talk about promos that, like he said, that you feel it. Yeah, I did. Yes, I did. Chosen one. Yes. We felt that promo. No, but again, Joe's right now, I think everyone will agree that he's probably top 3, you know, promo guy in the company right now. And probably going to be a big focal point on SmackDown. And Reigns is, and Josh, here's, I guess, this should be a testament to how good Roman Reigns is. Roman Reigns is now putting other people over.
Yeah,
in a way, and not that, and I know, guys, not that Samoa Joe needs put over, not that Brock Lesnar needs put over. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is that Roman Reigns is that top guy, that one of his top merch sellers, and they don't really even have to have him win anymore. Like a Randy Orton. Like, I mean, he's in that class, whether you like it or not, because nobody ever wanted to stop talking about him on Twitter. You put him in that class.
Hey, man, everybody has it out for Roman Reigns, but I'm pretty sure his match will be the most talked about after this show on Sunday. These guys have had good matches with each other before. I'm not worried about them at all.
Yeah, it's going to be a slugfest. Yeah, these two guys, the two tough sons of bitches that are just going to slug it out. I mean, this is going to be a good fight.
This is going to beat the shit out of each other, man. Good old-fashioned Donnybrook. I think they're going to close out the show with AJ and Nakamura, and they added the no DQ stipulation on SmackDown this week. So now it's a no DQ match. I don't know where they're going to go with this. This is kind of the interesting part of the show that I don't know what's going to happen, and I think it's a good thing. We got toys involved, as Michael Cole would say. Freaking ant. Start acknowledging the freaking Vulcan universe, you damn obsolete mule.
Is that little bald guy that's always trolling on Twitter?
Yes. By the way, nice to see Coach on commentary back this week.
Yeah.
Coach is doing.
It was.
Go ahead.
Who do you got with Nakamura and AJ?
I'm gonna go with Nakamura, actually.
So am I.
Shinsuke Nakamura, the king of dong style.
I no speak English.
No speak English. Yes.
What? Listen, and I'm just gonna stick with Nakamura because actually a couple months ago when I was on, I said I thought that they were gonna hold off on Nakamura's win until the month after, and I didn't. And I never imagined they were gonna do the major heel turn like that. But look at all the heat he's getting. Right now he is one of, and I'm glad they waited for Mania. I'm glad that they didn't. That's something that they could have probably turned him heel sooner. It wouldn't have been as effective. But especially with the no DQ, even though Styles does have his friends with a couple good brothers on the show now with him, I still think that Nakamura with the no DQ clause, probably with a low blow, so everybody get mad and get mad at me. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think that is going to be, because right now, you could even put Styles in a way in Money in the Bank, and I could see Styles winning Money in the Bank and then going after Universal Championship.
Right. And you look at Nakamura, it's going to be interesting with this match because now the low blows are legal, and I'm pretty sure Brian Saxon will throw a hissy fit, and Corey Graves is going to tell him to shut up during the match.
It's gonna be so great.
Awesome. I think about it from a storytelling standpoint, from the commentary. That's the stuff I'm looking forward to. I'm kind of different that way from other people that they just want to look at the in-ring action. I do think like the stories and the commentaries help enhance your entertainment level of the match as well.
Listen, I just want everyone to know, and Josh, you're going to be at Money in the Bank. I'm going to try and get up there. But until we get a "Shut Up Saxton" chant at an arena, listen, WWE Universe, you ain't shit until I hear a "Shut Up Saxton." That's what I want. I want it just one time.
We're dropping the ball, Universe.
Come on, you got all these great chants all the time. You pride yourselves on originality. Let's hear it.
Yes, we need to shut up Saxon. Yes. Corey Graves, the gift that keeps on giving.
He's the man. He's the man. We say it every week, but he's the man.
Yep. Now, we got Backlash in the, as they call it, the Rock, the Prudential Center. By the way, happy belated birthday to the Rock. Mr. I make a gazillion dollars. Good for him, man. He's the biggest cross-star attraction in the wrestling business of all time. It's not Hogan. It's not Austin, as much as I love him. Everybody else loves Austin. It's The Rock.
It's not even close either.
This dude's dropping movies like nothing, and he's breaking box office records and this and that. I don't know what to say, man. The guy gets put over every day, man. He has his own production company now, and it's good for him.
Hard work pays off.
Yeah, exactly. So, shout out to The Rock. Happy birthday. Hope you guys enjoyed Backlash. Of course, it's Sunday, even though it's in New Jersey, the dumps of all dumps. Yes.
I spent a lot of time in Elizabeth. But
the home of Jay Lethal.
Yes. Yeah, right. Yeah, I think AJ was up from originally up there.
Union City.
What's that?
Union City.
Okay. Which I think it's pretty close,
yeah.
Yeah. You know what? Last thing, just with Backlash, I guess my main reason why, Josh, just to put a bow on that. The reason I think Nakamura is going to win is they don't want. I don't think you want him in the Money in the Bank match again. And if Styles beats him, then Nakamura is not going to get he's not going to get a return match. He's not going to get a rematch, nothing like that. And I think you keep Nakamura totally out of Money in the Bank this year. And I hate to say it, the way to do it is put the title on.
You know what? I don't think either guy are going to be in the match.
Yeah, you're right, because Styles will get his rematch. Yeah.
He gets rematch, or you could have Joe go in there and make it a triple threat. Since
man, wouldn't Joe be? Joe would be a threat with that briefcase, man.
He would. The option. I'm pretty sure I'm going to hear a gazillion people be like, Daniel Bryan better be in that goddamn Money in the Bank ladder match. Oh, not really. Yeah. I mean, I'd rather see Miz tie CM Punk's record of most briefcase won than Daniel Bryan winning, but that's just me.
And This is why I always say, like, what kills me when people like want to throw the CM Punk thing in my face, where I always say, like, in a way, I don't want him to come back, and it's not because I'm not a fan, but I'm gonna catch a lot of heat for this. Whatever, this is an opinion or a strong take or whatever people say, but
Right.
Listen, Daniel Bryan, what he did in that Royal Rumble was unbelievable. It was second to none. And I love, like we talked about, I love that they're kind of making him what Shawn Michaels was after he came back after the back surgery, like the Iron Man, the guy that was just his stories, his championships weren't won with titles. They were won with having just quality matches. And I want them to keep Daniel Bryan like that, because I'm just not feeling a Daniel Bryan title run. I don't want him. I'm ready for the future, not the past. You know what I mean? Now, I'm okay with the past coming back and showing off like awesome, awesome matches so that like we still get the wrestling. Yes, yes, yes. But we've had, and even it's felt like we've never, like Daniel Bryan has never been, like it's felt like he's never lost the championship in a weird way. You know what I mean? So let's just, I don't want him anywhere near the title. I'm afraid I'll actually lose interest in his character if he's near the title.
All right, my good brother, it's time to have some fun here before we call it off for a day. We have some comedy, we got some music to talk about. Let's get it started, my man.
All right, listen, I know we'll get to the music stuff last because that's what you wanted to start with that. Couple things. One, it's Mental Health Awareness Month. You guys know I'm big on that. I at least will be talking about it a lot this month on these shows, at least at the end of the show. But we're gonna do a little music thing, and mine are gonna be based around that. But just know that right now, with it being Mental Health Awareness Month, don't listen. Mauro Ranallo got a big special coming out at the end of the month. There's so many stigmas attached to mental health, mental well-being, and what it really is. Listen, guys, just because it's a sickness that you can't take aspirin for doesn't mean that it isn't absolutely 100% real. And I've never been one to hide behind my own problems and my own issues. And, that's something that I wanted to continue. One of the reasons why I wanted to continue to use this platform. I was watching a special with W. Kamau Bell has a show called United Shades of America or whatever. And he's always taking on different topics. But he was in San Quentin. And long story short, there was a guy that writes for the San Quentin Times that gets actually published and sent outside of San Quentin. And he said, listen, you're in here for life, man. Why do you even care? And he said, well, just because physically I'm incarcerated for the rest of my life doesn't mean that my thoughts and my voice isn't free. And in a way, Josh, that's why I kind of wanted to like really start doing this again too, because it's like, we kind of take for granted the voice and the platform sometimes that we have. So I've always been one that I've been always big on advocating for mental wellness, mental health, and I'm going to do so all month long. So every show for the rest of the month, you guys are gonna have to put up with some sort of mental health or mental, we're gonna be talking about that. So just stay tuned for that. Comedy stuff I wanted to talk about. If you have Netflix, John Mulaney's new stand-up, Kid Gorgeous, just launched May 1st. It's awesome. It's awesome. It's awesome. If you're a John Mulaney fan, you got to watch it. Chicago boy, I believe. So they're right up your alley. But even if you're not, if you've watched Saturday Night Live, I don't know, in your life, you'll appreciate John Mulaney's humor. He was a writer there for a while. Just hosted a couple weeks ago. If you're familiar with the Stefan character, he's also responsible for that. So whether you love or hate that character, you can thank John Mulaney. But his stand-up was awesome. And while I want to talk about stand-up, I just wanted to bring this up because this is something that I have to call hypocrisy when I call hypocrisy. I want to give Michelle Wolf a standing ovation for doing the one thing that nobody has been able to do to date. And that was unify Trump supporters and the media to being on the same side. And for anybody that got caught up in that, now this isn't a political thing. I'm standing up for stand-up comedy here. If you found anything offensive with her stand-up, yet voted for Donald Trump, you're the walking epitome of a hypocrite. Is it because she's a woman? Or wait, so when women can be vicious, listen, when you're in a position like that, if you're unfamiliar with comedy, you do not, and this is just like rule of thumb, if there's someone in the crowd that you know is famous or more famous than you don't call them out. You don't call out power. You don't punch. You don't punch up when they're in the audience. You punch up when you're there in a room full of powerful people. You know, just like, you know, you don't punch down in stand-up comedy. You punch up, you know, and that's exactly what Michelle Wolf did. And, you know, I watched it 3 times because I wanted to make sure that I wasn't just saying, you know, because yes, it is shocking at first. Yes, you know, because it was vulgar. But when you break down her entire bit, it was damn near flawless. I mean, it was, and realistically, the only reason why it wasn't flawless was because of the audience that she was in front of. If you're uncomfortable with her dialogue, again, I don't know why we hold comedians to a higher standard than we do our own president, legislators, and things of that nature. But her stand-up was everything that it was supposed to be. It's just unfortunate that people in powerful positions now don't know how to take a joke. You know, and it's funny too, Josh, what I thought was kind of comical is it was funny watching men try to mansplain to other women. Like, well, this is what, well, you shouldn't be that mean to others. So you're going to tell women what they shouldn't say to other women. Like, right. This whole thing to me was, there was so much chauvinism, like, you know, because if that was a male stand-up comedian, it wouldn't have been as big of a deal. And I don't think it also wouldn't have been as big of a deal if she didn't call out truth to exactly what it was. Donald Trump and the rest of all those cronies are nothing but the media's cash cows. They created them, whether or not they're basically their ex-girlfriend. They created a monster. They're making money off this monster, and you know, I just don't think they liked hearing that. So, congrats, Michelle Wolf. You did the impossible. You united the media and the Trump base. That's why, ladies and gentlemen, she is a treasure.
Disco Inferno would have been great for that panel.
Yeah. Well, no, well, yeah, right. For her to roast, yeah, but not, you know. That's what kills me though, dude. Is like, at the end of the day, those are supposed to be roasts. You know it's coming. And half that bit, she was throwing jokes back on herself. People skip over that. They just want the salacious headlines, and like people that didn't even watch it. So, but I challenge you, if you thought that if her stand-up wasn't funny, you're not funny. You have no sense of humor. It was gold. It was gold.
My comedy stuff's gonna come from George Carlin this week.
Man.
The GOAT.
The man.
Yes, sir. I got a couple quotes here. I was scrolling through Google. Anytime I need a laugh or this stuff to look at, and George Carlin, not only a comedian, also gives out some good life advice as well. So I think that's kind of the cool charm about George Carlin that doesn't get enough attention. So here we go. Here's the first one. This one could relate to other people and wrestling fans. When someone is impatient and says, "I haven't got all day," I always wonder, how can that be? How can you not have all day? That's the first one. So just think in your head. Scroll back here. 1 second. Here we go. When you're born, you get a ticket to the freak show. When you're born in America, you get a front row seat.
I could go Carlin lines for days, man. Yes. Carlin is one of my muses. That's a lot of times, like when we get to this like musical list, a lot of times like I don't go to music, I'll go to an old Carlin stand up bit and just have to put it on and just zone out, and he talks me down off my rock sometimes, off the ledge, so to speak.
Inside every cynical person, there's a disappointed idealist. Here's to all of you. Here's all you have to know about men and women. Women are crazy, men are stupid, and the main reason women are crazy is that men are stupid. That's what I'll share.
That's a fact.
Yes, sir. Shout out to George Carlin. Other thing I wanted to mention here really quick from an entertainment point. This is out to movie theaters. I don't need a 30-minute rundown of trailers. I mean, we could condense this shit to maybe 10 or 15, but when we're reaching 45-minute territories for a movie that's gonna be 2 hours and 20 minutes or something like that, you're reaching in thin, man. I think we need to scale this stuff down. I love trailers as much as anybody, don't get me wrong, but I don't think we need 35-minute or a kickoff show version of trailers for movies.
Opening weekend, you knew you were getting that, dude.
Yeah,
You knew that was coming.
I was in for a rude awakening. Yes.
I still got Speaking of that, my other thing is tonight. Let me see, because it's Thursday if you're listening to this. So if not, then you can probably find it on demand. But Gotham starts the final 3 episodes of the season.
Yes,
Tonight is season 4, episode 20, and this is really where they fully get into the Joker thing, which I find a little bit. There's some comedy in that in itself. But this, you know what, man. This is something that even if you have never watched the series, this would be a great way to dip in. One, because it could salvage a season 5, and I really would like for them to get a season 5. But I know I've already seen too much about the last 3 episodes. I think I read the spoilers. I'm not going to say anything on here because I don't want to be that guy. But I do think that if you are a fan of the Batman franchise, or comics in general, these are going to be 3 episodes that aren't going to disappoint you by any stretch of the imagination, and it's actually going to be, I think, some of the most gripping television as far as from these series that we get. A lot of times it's like, oh my god, it's the most exciting show of the year, and it's like you put it on, it's like 50 minutes of someone walking down the street and there's one fight scene.
Right.
It's not like that. Like Gotham has actually been really, really exciting on every level. It's a constant roller coaster, and I think these next 3 episodes are going to be they're not going to be they're not going to be, they ain't no joke.
Yes. There's a lot of parts in life where people are going through transitions or rough times, or there's a lot of people deal with outside of media or anything else. Everybody has their own issues, and I was thinking about this last night. I was trying to come up with stuff to talk about for the show this week. I thought it'd be interesting to drop down a list of songs that could either pick up your spirits or get you in the zone and kind of reopened your eyes to the bigger picture of what's important and not have you all down the dumps. So I talked about this last night with Adam to come up with a list. It's like 5 songs, rock or rap. We could do different lists either way. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be specific, but we could just do like 5 songs that gets us in the zone, or whenever we're feeling down about anything, we can always go to those songs and lift our heads up. So Adam, you got your list with you?
Yeah, man. Here, and you know what? Actually, I did mine for, like I said, it was for, I'm going to do tie in mental wellness with this one. So I did like a top 5 to like 5 songs that I always go to when I'm having when I'm stuck in my own head, so to speak. Like, listen, and I don't want to, not for nothing, but before we get into this, that the quick trailer they showed of Moro, and that's why I am in such admiration of Moro Ronaldo. But there's a part on there where they show him breaking down, and that's an image that's all too familiar to me. And that's why I don't think people truly understand how sometimes debilitating bipolar and manic stuff, depressive kind of stuff, anxiety, you name it, can be. But with that being said, there are times where I personally, in my entire life have been in situations where I've needed to let's say calm down. But it's funny, Josh, like I was telling you, like I kind of have a weird thing where, like, because I'm an ancient fossil of a human being now. I have like before 2000s and then after 2000s stuff, Right. But this is just going to be like 5 songs, and I'm sure I'm forgetting some. I'm sure there's probably going to be some that are interchangeable or whatever, but these are 5 songs that when I'm really like in my own head, I just need to just put some headphones in, like tune the world out and just put these songs on. And okay, so I'm going to start off with, I didn't want to put this as 2 different songs, so I'm listing them as one. But from Tool's Lateralis album, Reflection is a song that I always put on when I need to just get it out of my own head. And Lateralis, and they're both from the same album, so I don't want to say, hey, I don't want to put them both on a top 5, but either one of those songs, I think Reflection's like 12 minutes long or something like that. And I know Lateralis is like 10 minutes long. I'm into the longer prog rock type stuff, but
right.
Bob Marley's Redemption song is one that's it's always an always go-to song for me. Jay-Z and Eminem's Renegade. Crazy from the Machiavelli album, Tupac's Machiavelli album. And I want to put a Perfect Circles passive on here because that's one that I always go to, but I feel like I'm kind of pigeonholing myself all to like newer music. So there was a song, and I'm not talking about the studio version, but years back when there was this fun little thing called MTV's Headbangers Ball with Ricky Rackman. Stone Temple Pilots played an acoustic version of Plush on there that to this day it still gives me goosebumps when I hear it. So I guess that's 6 or 7 songs, I guess, other than the top 5 with some, put the honorable mentions however you want. But guys, when you're feeling down, put those songs on, make a playlist, put them on your radio, do what you need to do to ease your mind, and then sit back and enjoy.
The first song that I'm going to use here is the song that I listened to before I ever got like if I was prepping for a football game, I was playing in high school, or I was getting ready to perform a live like high school concert for like the school or whatever. It's a Linkin Park song. It's a 2-parter. Fallout going into Catalyst. That's the first song I go to a lot, especially if I like rage mode and I need to get motivated that type of way. That's the song I always go to. I always go to the Catalyst. The second Linkin Park song that I go to is a song that just came off their last album, was called Nobody Can Save Me. So that's the second song I go to a lot. Cools me down. The third one's a song I used as the old intro for this show, Sky's the Limit, the Notorious B.I.G. song. A lot of people know that Notorious B.I.G. has always been one of my favorite artists of all time. So, his message is very good in that song. It is true. Sky's the limit. You can do what you have to do to help put money in your family's table and fuck everybody along the way when you reach the top. So, important family and people in your circle. That's what matters the most. And you got to do what you got to do to reach the top. So that's the reason I always click to that song. I have one Eagles song that I always go to. It's kind of like, when you're in different environments and you feel like uncomfortable, I always listen to New Kid in Town. That's one of my favorite Eagles songs of all time. It's one of my favorite ones to play on the guitar, actually. So New Kid in Town. And then the last one is it's kind of different because the story is off, but it's something I can relate to from the environment I'm surrounded by. Is Brenda's Got a Baby by Tupac. I've seen a lot of that story in my neighborhood for where I grew up in Chicago. It's a song I listen to when shit hits the fan and stuff, man. When I think something's bad, I can look at that and realize it's not that bad, because it could get a lot worse. So those are the 5 songs off the top of my head. I mean, you want to throw some honorable mentions out there. Like I always go to Something in the Way, the Nirvana song. That's one of my favorites. Other ones from Biggie that I enjoyed, One More Chance is always a big one for me. And then from his last album was I Got a Story to Tell. That's one of my all-time favorite Biggie songs. So that's the ones that stand out the most to me.
Yeah, and I'm always big on entire albums. So like for me, like I was pulling some songs out, but there's a lot of times where I need to just get into an album. Like you brought up the Catalyst from Linkin Park. I thought still, I mean, I think, I don't know, history might dictate differently now because One More Light, that album has a much different tone and attachment to it now, I think, than it had previous. So, that album's always going to have a different and special and emotional, concept to it. But I thought the 1,000 Suns, people hated it. It was my favorite Linkin Park album. Tool's Lateralis album is one that, there's one way you listen to it, but there's also an alternate way called The Lost Key that's equally as impressive and there's a certain way that the songs shuffle around and it tells a different story. A Perfect Circle's 13th Step is one that I think front to back is a damn near flawless album, another conceptual type album. And, so I'm bigger into like, I need to put in an album, kick back, and I just like to go on, the ride of the album sometimes. But that's the old, I guess, hippie in me that, listens to Pink Floyd and knows, you know what I mean? Like Pink Floyd, The Doors, that kind of stuff where they're used to listening to these long abstract style attachments.
And I always have, for my classical background, I always go to the Lion King soundtrack. Hans Zimmer. I think I got his name right. Yep. He directed a lot of the music in that soundtrack along with Elton John, and Lion King was my favorite movie at the time as a kid. Like if you ask me what's my favorite Disney movie, it's all the Lion King ones. So I have a personal attachment to those ones, and I played a lot of them throughout the city when I was playing like percussion and stuff in elementary and high school. So I always had a blast playing Lion King. And then I look at other artists I look up to, like George Harrison, who had a great catalog of music and doesn't get appreciated for his song storytelling in his music. You know, all the spotlight was on John Lennon and Paul McCartney. Obviously, well deserved. I mean, very talented guys, but I think George Harrison kind of gets lost in the shuffle sometimes for his importance in the music culture as well. And he is also one of those guys that's big on activism too, you know, letting your voice speak for yourself and helping out other countries and not being a selfish prick. So George Harrison's always been a big idol of mine.
Musicians are, you know, and that's the thing. Music is activism. You know, it's not like, other than that, you know, like sugar, like super sweet saccharine bubblegum pop that gets put out there. I mean, it's music. It typically is activism, you know, in a lot of ways. Whether it's in your face or whether it's subtle or whether it's subliminal. I mean, there's, you know, it's, the arts is a way to challenge power. You know what I mean? That's why I don't understand when people say, well, you're just a singer, you shouldn't say anything. Yeah, well, you're just a TV show host, you shouldn't fucking run our country.
Right, exactly. That's it, folks. Hopefully you guys can go check out the songs. Let us know in the comment section, by the way, what songs do you listen to that gets your mind off of things and helps you get in a better mood. I think it's cool to do something a little bit more positive and get people in the good spirits as we head off into the weekend. By this time next week, I'll be turning 24. And life is good. I can't complain. You know, we're making a lot of transitions from my end, you know, working at this new tattoo job, procuring the cash of all the cashes, securing my bank account. Hopefully one of these days I can move out of Chicago and see where my adventures bring me. But I'm having fun. I don't want you guys to worry about me. I'm in a good place personally and professionally. I'm still grinding and dishing out these play-by-play articles for you guys who do check out. I do see the support and the feedback, and I do appreciate those who do check out the website. I put a lot of work into those articles, and I appreciate the support for that. And from this podcast, I'm very grateful for those who listen to this show. I mean, we had a lot of live viewers watching our show today. I thought that's pretty cool. So thanks.
I was actually going to bring that up too, like Josh. I want all of your you know, especially your audience, to know that, you know, when you guys get sick of me, make sure you let Josh know and be like, hey, get him out. Like, you know, so if you guys want less than me, like, remember, Josh, I'm not gonna tarnish your show, but I do hope they you know, they appreciate the back and forth, because it's hopefully we're giving them something different that maybe they're not, you know, hearing elsewhere. So.
Right, and you know, I'm having a lot of fun. Not only reconnecting, but you know, outside this, we always talk about stuff non-wrestling related. And you're a brother, vice versa. We know the drill here, you know. But it's fun that we can come on here and talk about wrestling and not have a fucking brain aneurysm by the time the show ends. So you know, it's fun recording these shows. I hope you guys are enjoying it. We're doing something off the table. You know, we're dropping our comedy. I'm kind of becoming more laid back and tamed than I was on the pipe bomb, and that's something I had to reevaluate myself for how I was conducting myself on there. You know, I'll curse here and there when it's justified for a comedy purpose, but I'm not in the zone where I need to rant anymore. Like I'm not allowing the shit to affect me anymore. That's why I went and unfollowed a gazillion people on social media, because it was clouding my enjoyment of being a wrestling fan and as a broadcaster. And I can't let other people dictate what comes out of my mouth. I cannot let outside sources dictate what I go through or decisions I make. And it's just simple as that. So, you know, I'm turning 24. I'm not looking for people to throw me bouquets or this or that. I don't need anything, but I do appreciate the support. I'm going to continue to bust my ass as the weeks goes by and hope to give you the best show that you guys listen to. And again, thank you. Thank you for giving the show a chance. So I hope you guys enjoy not my debate.
Real quick. Hold on. Before you get on the show, because even though it's going to be a weekend, it'll be a day after your birthday, because your birthday's the 9th, right?
Monday.
Monday's your birthday?
Yep.
Okay, so it's right in between. So real quick, I'm not letting you off the hook this easy, real quick. So we're having a conversation last night, and you're like, "Yeah," and this is for everyone out there. This isn't for you. This is for everyone that's been following you for the past 4 or 5 years that you've been doing this.
Right.
So so whatever it is, 6 years now, and and now here's my 38 and a half year old ass that can barely walk around, probably needs a cane. My knee feels like a bag of shattered glass. That my back feels like Wolverine constantly got like his adamantium claws in me. Good luck trying to get me to damn near lift anything, the hernias I got. But here you are, about to turn 24 years old, going, I'm one step closer to the wheelchair club. Brother, my life didn't even begin until 24 years old. Legit. I mean, 24 is when I could say that I probably had my first like legitimate like job to where I was like making some money, and it's like, okay, it was like kind of on my own after some personal struggles and stuff like that I had to overcome and stuff like that. And yeah, man, 24 is dude, you still got a good 10 or 15 years of making a hell of a lot of mistakes, to be quite honest. So don't even say that and I know I always come on here, guys, and I am a little bit of the older voice, and it's probably quite annoying sometimes because things don't affect me as much because I have, paying bills is more important than who got booked to go over in a live event in Saudi Arabia. But I don't know, it just happens that way sometimes. But I also understand that I used to be that single guy that had a lot of time and stuff like that. So that's why I do, I play devil's advocate a lot, guys, just because it's, trying to get everyone to get together. But Josh, at age 24, you haven't even come close to hitting your peak yet. So like, I'm past my prime. I'm the one that's on the wrong side of a certain age. You, my friend, your best years are still ahead of you. So that should be, and I'm saying that as a testament to you, your work ethic, and all the very quality work that you've done. So if you think you're doing right now, and everyone out there, show this man the support that he deserves, is he's only going to keep getting better.
Love you, brother.
Love you too, brother. Happy birthday, man.
Thanks, man. Thank you, everybody, for checking out episode 104 of the Josh Lopez Wrestling Podcast. Hit us up in the comment section. Hit us up on social media. Let us know what you thought about the show and the topic we were talking about before we close out here with the music stuff. I like to know what you guys are listening to and stuff that gets you in the better mood. That's what we're here. We're trying to provide some good vibes and get your guys' minds off of things and not being affected by Nimrods running on TMZ and professing their freedom and all this other bullshit. So with that said, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Notorious Joshi. Follow the good brother, the Clown Prince of Podcasting, Adam at Adam Daley 13. And check out ProWrestlingTranslucents.com, and we'll talk to you guys next week. Adios, motherfuckers.